Hello Star Wars fans, how are you? Welcome to the Popcorn Junkies. We are reacting to, good God, I mean there hasn't been anything for quite a while, has there, from the Star Wars universe? From George Lucas's, the recesses of George Lucas's mind. I was thinking earlier today whilst working on something else, I was thinking that wonderful refrain, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. So is Star Wars actually set in the past rather than the future? I love that. Completely messes with your mind. A bit like the universe. Such a clever line. Leads to everything. Well, interestingly, this trailer is for a new series called The Acolyte. And why this is kind of interesting is, as I understand it, though I am a Star Wars fan, but I am not a Star Wars geek. So, as I understand it, I believe this sits before Star Wars The Phantom Menace. This is like Star Wars in the Roman Empire in terms of their timeline, I think. This is something like 100 years before Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And so consequently, things could just be wishy-washy here, couldn't they? We're not going to have Yodas, I presume. We're not going to have R2s, are we? Or we're not going to have, well, I suppose in 100 years you probably have, you can have droids, you can have all that stuff, you can have creatures. But we're going to be even more battered. It's going to be modern sci-fi, but it's in the past. It's old. I can't get my head straight. Far, far away in a galaxy, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. This is that. This is it. We're going back in time, but is it forward in time? Oh God, I can't even get my head around where this is positioned. Anyway, more seriously, the Acolyte. What is an Acolyte? Well, an Acolyte is a kind of semi-religious cleric type student, isn't it? It's like a Padawan, isn't it? The Acolyte. Aren't you sort of a member of a team, of a group? I'm pretty certain in Dungeons and Dragons you can be an Acolyte. I think an Acolyte is like of a religious order, like a monk or something like that. Anyway, so the Acolyte, as I say, is set in what's called the High Republic era. This obviously comes out of George Lucas's tapestry of Star Wars lore, which has kind of continued in comic book fashion, TV series, animated series. And I have to say, I'm probably not going to win many fans here. I'm quite relieved that Jon Favreau and David Filoni aren't involved with this. Not because they're not good, and not because, obviously, I think Dave Filoni is about to direct one of the new Star Wars films. They're preaching to a really diehard Star Wars kind of elite. Whereas what I'm interested in is the stuff which takes Star Wars outside of its inward-looking kind of logic. I want stuff, and that's where I think things like Andor, you know, I didn't get to the end of that series, but for me, Andor and even Obi-Wan Kenobi was so much better than, actually, for me, the second series of The Mandalorian, and certainly the Book of Boba Fett, which I found absolutely tedious. And Ahsoka, I didn't kind of get into because I knew it was a spin-off from the cartoony stuff or the animated stuff. So this should be good. Who does it star? It stars, I never get her name right, Amandla Stenberg. She was in the Hunger Games. She was also in Bodies, that brilliant A24 sort of horror film. She was also in The Hate U Give, which was okay, but it was you know, quite an important film to be made. So we've got Amandla Stenberg in there. We've got Manny Jacinto. I don't know any of the other names. Jodie Turner-Smith. I know she's from Queen and Slim, and she was also in After Yang and White Noise. So, you know, we've got quite a rich young cast. Could we be looking at, albeit that it's set in the past, you know, 100 years before Phantom Menace? In those 100 years, you can do so much. You've got a century of time to kind of play with. Anyway, all this jibber-jabber, and I don't even know what it's going to be like, but let's watch it. This is The Acolyte.
Close your eyes.
Oh, he's sweet.
Your eyes can deceive you.
They can.
We must not trust them.
Nice colour.
Tell me what comes into your mind.
Ooh.
Life.
Ooh.
Balance. I see fire.
Balance. Ooh.
Someone is killing Jedi. It doesn't make sense.
Ooh.
What happened?
I sensed darkness.
or bad. This is about power and who is allowed to use it.
What is that?
My God, did you see the end there? I went, oh, my glasses came up. Wow. Okay, first things first, the music is sensational. The imagery is sensational. The colours, the dark purples. I mean, it's weird that should strike me, but I like that. It's less primary, toy tiny, kiddie. It feels grown up. It doesn't feel too derivative. Great looking, sort of vibrant, contrasting kind of cast. It's not heavily women, it's not heavily men. You don't feel that diversity have just been ticking boxes. There's Wookiees in there. There's that woman with the knife at the beginning. That was so good. And I have to say, they've also done something with the grade. One of my problems with The Mandalorian and all the way through all of the stuff on Disney Plus and Star Wars, it's been too clean. It's almost had that Netflixification type. It's too clean. I don't know what's going on. It's like, it's got to a point where HD is so HD, it's too clean. And I think the thing about Star Wars is, I'm happy with Star Wars when you have to almost watch it through a bit of a mist, or through sand, or through grit, or through muck, whether it's the debris and dust of kind of electrics, robotics, droids, whatever. And this had lots of that, I have to confess. Really like the costume design, really like that beginning, the cutest looking kids. A darkness is coming, Jedi action, creatures are in there, but the creatures didn't feel just sort of plonked there. They looked endemic, they looked part and implicit of the actual sets. I have to say, I thought that looked exciting. What did you think?